Welcome back to Tel Aviv. I'm Yalda Hakim, and let's just return to our top story now. On the second anniversary of the October 7 attack that took place here, that's really continued to traumatize this nation. I'm currently in Hostage Square, where people here are commemorating the second anniversary and also waiting for some news around this potential deal where they could see hostages released and, of course, the war in Gaza to come to an end. We know that that war has caused the killing of 67,000 Palestinians. But let me just bring in my next guest, Eli Sharabi, who is a former hostage and author of the book Hostage. Eli, thank you so much for joining us here on the program. I just want to begin at the very beginning of your story, because, of course, you were held captive in Gaza by Hamas for about 500 days. You've now written this book, Hostage, but you were actually taken from Kibbutz Be'eri. Just take me back to that day and that moment.
6:30 a.m. We got this alarm that wakes us up from bed. We pick up our daughters to the safe room with our dog. We've waited for the army to arrive. We waited that the alarms will stop. And when we heard there's a possibility of terrorists of Hamas infiltrating our kibbutz, we were in shock from that, and we understood that this time it's not just missiles. And 4 hours later, they arrived to our house as well, and start to break things and shouting in Arabic and Hebrew, opened the safe room doors very easily, start to shoot in our safe room. We shouted them to stop, and immediately we said to them that Lian, Noya, and Dehel, my daughters, have British passports, and we were sure to protect them. We presume I will be kidnapped or they will kill me, but we just wanted to protect the girls.
Yeah, and then you were separated from your wife and children and taken into Gaza. Just talk me through that period, because, as I said, you were there for roughly 500 days. You were moved from place to place. Just talk me through the conditions and what you went through.
We've been, I've been kidnapped to Gaza with one of Be'eri's cars. We arrived to the first stop in Gaza after 25 minutes of driving, slowly drive in towards Gaza. We stopped in a mosque. Some mob of civilians tried to lynch me. Men and kids were on top of me with their shoes, hitting me and shouted Allahu Akbar. Fortunately, the terrorists of Hamas took me away from them and took me to a house there, a Palestinian family house. I've been there for 52 days, chained by ropes in the beginning, in my hands, in my legs, and after that with iron chain. Asking permission for go to the bathroom and for eating and for speaking. And after 52 days, in the middle of the ceasefire, the first ceasefire, they took me to the tunnels. Again, inside a mosque, we've seen, we've been in a side room. They opened a door in the floor, and they took me into a darkness, 50 meters underground of tunnels. And just, hygienic is horrible. No running water. We just took a shower every 6 weeks with a half bucket of cold water. We were humiliated on a daily basis. Sometimes they hit us. But the hunger and the starvation was the worst thing.
Yeah, and I know that you lost a lot of weight, some 25 kilos in that period because of the lack of food. Initially, were you taken by yourself and then you were taken into the tunnels with other hostages?
Yes, I've met in the tunnels, I've met 6 Israeli guys that had been kidnapped from the Nova Festival. It was Ori Danino, Hirsch Goldberg, and Almog Sarusi. All of them been murdered later, 10 months later in other tunnel. And the other 3 I met, it was Elia Cohen, Or Levy, and Alon Oel. Unfortunately, in my deal, only Or Levy and Elia Cohen been released with me, and Alon Oel is still there.
Did you have any sense of what was going on in the outside world, the bombardment in Gaza, the number of people being killed in Gaza, the situation there, and the fact that in Israel so many other people had been taken alongside you, some 251 other hostages were taken, or 250 rather, and in total with you, 251.
We didn't watch television. Most of it just because they spoke between themselves after they watched the news, and I understand Arabic, so I listened to them. I understood how many hostages there are in Gaza, and I understood about the war that. All these missiles from Gaza and from Lebanon and from Iran, they spoke about that. That's what I knew about the war.
And then how did you get the news that you were going to be released? How did they notify you? And just talk us through, because you didn't know what had happened to your wife, your children, and then you got the news that you were going to be part of a number of people coming out.
Yeah, it was February 1st, a week before my release. It was High Commander from Hamas arrived to our tunnel, open a laptop and show me 33 hostages that are going to be released, that I'm one of them. And he said to me that I'm going back home in a week. 2 days before my release, they announced me happily about that my brother Yossi been kidnapped as well on October 7, and he was murdered 100 days later. And the day of my release on February 8th, after this horrible ceremony in Deir el-Balah, half an hour later, I understood that my wife Lian, my daughters Noya and Yael, been murdered 5 minutes after I was kidnapped from our house.
Eli, I have about 30 seconds left, but what message did you now want to pass to the world on this second anniversary of October the 7th?
Nobody can forget. I will not let anybody to forget what happened to Israel on October 7th, to my family, to my wife and my daughters, that this Hamas terrorist doesn't have any boundaries. They didn't care if they kill Israelis or British. And, and there's still 48 hostages remain in Gaza Strip, and we need to bring them all home.
In Gaza.
In Gaza. And, and only then Israel can start to heal from this trauma.
Eli Sharabi, we're really grateful that you've joined us here on the program. Thank you so much.